In a small town school, there was a boy named Theo. Theo had a stutter. Every word came out slow and broken. Whenever he tried to speak, the class would go quiet. Some kids laughed, others just looked away, uncomfortable. Teachers would ask him a question, then quickly move on. "It's okay, Theo," they'd say. "Take your seat." Nobody waited long enough to hear what he wanted to say. Over time, Theo stopped raising his hand completely. He stopped answering questions, even when he knew the answer. His voice slowly disappeared from every conversation around him. At home, it was no different. Dinner was mostly silence. His parents loved him, but even they finished his sentences for him. Theo began to believe his voice simply didn't matter. But there was one place where words never failed him: a small notebook hidden under his bed. At night, Theo wrote pages and pages every single night. On paper, his words came out smooth, fast, powerful. There was no stutter in ink, no pause, no struggle. He wrote about heroes, about pain, about people who felt unseen. He wrote about a boy who couldn't speak, but never stopped thinking. Years passed. The notebooks piled up under his bed. In school, Theo remained the quiet boy in the back row. Teachers assumed he had nothing to offer. Classmates forgot he existed. But every night, his private world grew louder and louder. One day, a young teacher named Ms. Hale noticed something. She saw Theo scribbling quickly during a free period. She walked over gently and asked to see his notebook. Theo froze, embarrassed, trying to hide the pages. But Ms. Hale insisted kindly. "Just one page, please." Reluctantly, Theo handed it over, bracing for laughter. Ms. Hale read the page slowly. Her expression changed. She looked up at him, eyes wide with surprise. "Theo," she said softly, "this is beautiful. This is real writing." Theo didn't know how to respond. No one had said that before. Ms. Hale asked if she could share it with the class. Theo panicked. Sharing meant speaking. Speaking meant stuttering. "You don't have to read it out loud," she said. "I will." The next day, Ms. Hale read Theo's story to the entire class. The room, usually full of side conversations, went completely silent. Every student listened, captivated by the words on the page. When she finished, the class turned to look at Theo. For the first time, they weren't looking at his stutter. They were looking at him with respect, with awe. From that day, something shifted, slowly but surely. Ms. Hale encouraged Theo to keep writing and to keep sharing. He started writing short stories for the school newspaper. His stutter never disappeared. He never became a smooth talker, but his words started reaching people in a different way. Through pages, not through his voice, Theo finally spoke. Years later, Theo grew into a young man with many notebooks. He submitted his stories to publishers. Again and again, rejection after rejection came back. He kept writing anyway. He remembered one thing Ms. Hale told him long ago. "Your stutter is not a flaw. It's just not your only voice." Finally, one publisher said yes to his collection of short stories. The book found its way into the hands of readers everywhere. People connected with his characters, his pain, his honesty. Nobody reading his pages ever heard him stutter. All they heard was a voice that refused to stay silent. Theo often thought back to that boy in the back row, the one who was told to sit down and stay quiet. He realized silence was never his weakness. It simply pushed him to find a different kind of voice. This story isn't only about stuttering or about writing. It's about every person who feels unheard in their own way. Maybe your voice doesn't fit the room you're standing in. That doesn't mean you have nothing to say. Find your own page, find your own way to speak. The world is still listening.